actually joint chairman, the exercise of jurisdiction, which is the second aspect mentioned by the Solicitor General, is covered by Article 13. And that exercise of jurisdiction commences when the prosecutor has initiated an investigation in respect of such a crime in accordance with Article 15. That is when that jurisdiction, when the exercise of that jurisdiction commences. Because the prosecutors are part of the ICC. Now, what does Section 15 say? Section 15 provides for two kinds of investigation. One is investigation motu proprio of the prosecutor. But under the agencies, under the coverage of the ICC. And the second investigation is the investigation, which is usually referred to as the preliminary investigation, as authorized by the pre-trial chamber. But that second investigation is not the commencement. The commencement is the investigation motu proprio by the prosecutor. What is the language? It says here, if the prosecutor concludes that there is a reasonable basis to proceed. The word is proceed. That means to say, nagsimula na, ipagpapatuloy lamang. That's why we should not base our government's objection to the preliminary investigation by saying that it came after the effectivity of our withdrawal, because the investigation commenced prior to the effectivity of our withdrawal from the ICC. I think that should be impressed on us. Now, with respect to the sovereignty of the state, sovereignty, Solicitor General, is that absolute? Is that correct?
Hindi ko po na kuha yung tanong.
Sovereignty is not absolute.
Yes, it is not absolute.
Is it not absolute? Because there are times when the state would voluntarily, quote unquote, surrender a portion of its sovereignty, as when it becomes a state signatory to international conventions like the Rome Statute. Is that correct?
Tama po yun.
Tama yun. Now, let us go to the import of the obiter dictum in the case of Pangilinan versus Cayetano. Obiter dictum is not a useless surplusage.
It is not.
It is not. It expresses the sense of the court as guidance. Is that correct?
Tama po.
Okay. So let us not demean that decision that there was an obiter, because that obiter is significant. And my last question, our good solicitor, is if the House and the Senate would approve their respective resolutions urging the government to cooperate with the ICC, what would be your recommendation to the President, who has the onus of making that final decision?
You're asking for my recommendation? Your Honor, if it were just probably some members expressing their sentiment, I would not have any problem with that, Your Honor. But if it's an institutional resolution, meaning as adopted, and it's the House itself and the Senate itself expressing that sentiment, it will really be a very complicated situation, Your Honor, because from the point of view, from an external point of view, it would seem that the Republic is fragmented in its position. One political department is saying something, and another political department is saying another thing. When the president made his statement that that the government will not cooperate, my understanding is he was saying that as head of the Republic, as head of the state, the sovereign Republic of the Philippines. He was not saying that simply as chief executive or as the head of the executive department. He's saying that as the head of state. And therefore, Your Honor, that will put him in a very difficult situation. I cannot, as of this time, think of a recommendation to give to him. It's really something that I would request Congress itself to think about, because, as I said, it will appear to the outside world that the Republic is fragmented.
Well, if the Republic is fragmented, there is good reason to unite the political departments. And nothing is cast in stone. Do you agree?
That is true.
And the president can change his mind and consider the joint sentiment of the House and the Senate. Is that possible?
I am sure, Your Honor, that if the proposed resolutions come to pass and they are adopted as institutional positions of both the House and the Senate, the President will definitely consider your resolutions.
Mhm.
But whether or not he will actually follow your request that we cooperate is something that he alone,
Mhm.
as head of the government, head of state, and representative of the Republic, may decide on.
But, the president does not act alone. That is why he has his cabinet. He has his Solicitor General. Is the Solicitor General ready to defy the resolutions of the House and the Senate?
Your Honor, the resolution is not addressed to me. It's addressed to the President. And
It's addressed to the executive department, to the government. And you are part of the cabinet of the president.
yes, Your Honor, but since the President is the chief executive and he is the person or officer principally in charge of foreign relations, then his own decision on the matter will be most crucial.
Okay.
Of course, this will be studied by members of his cabinet, his legal advisor, his political advisor, and so forth and so on. But I think since he is the primary architect of our foreign policy, under which the matter of this ICC investigation falls, then I guess we should all give some respect to his decision on the matter.
Well, we give respect, but we would like also to put up our own sentiment on the matter. Suppose the president would ask you, Mr. Solicitor General, what is your recommendation after the Senate and the House approve the resolutions?
Your Honor, I have already taken a position on this matter when I represented the Republic of the Philippines before the ICC Appeals Chamber. And I have no reason, Your Honor, to change my position. So if the President would ask me about my personal position on the issue, I will stick to what I have always adopted before the ICC.
And in that appeal before the ICC, the government lost. Because the ICC said that the preliminary investigation must proceed.
Your Honor, lost, yes, in that sense that the prosecutor was authorized to continue with his investigation. But to a certain extent, that decision was also a failure. And why so? Because it did not rule on jurisdiction. And that is why I'm saying, Your Honor, that although we have different interpretations as to the meaning of Article 13 in relation to Article 15, the time will come when this issue will actually be raised again before the ICC. And when will that time be? When specific concrete cases are filed against certain specific individuals are concerned. And these individuals will raise the very same issues raised by the state. So that will be an opportunity for the ICC to do what it failed to do when we filed our appeal before the ICC appeals chamber.
In other words, Mr. Solicitor General, you will tell the President that you are maintaining your appeal, the issues on which you raised on appeal before the ICC, and consequently, impliedly, you're saying don't follow the resolutions of the Senate and of the House.
Your Honor, I respect the resolution of the House if it will be adopted. If a similar resolution is adopted by the Senate, I will also have to respect that. But if you are asking for my position as Solicitor General, I cannot depart from a position that I have consistently adopted.
Okay. But we should remember that the bottom line of that appeal is the Republic lost its case. Although the ICC did not rule categorically on jurisdiction, because the majority decided that jurisdiction is obvious. It's obvious. If you read the Rome Statute, it's obvious that it has jurisdiction. Most probably, it was just trying to save the Republic from further embarrassment. Thank you, Joint Chair.
SG, nagbago yata yung timpla ng sagot mo. Because I asked the same question to you, sabi mo sa akin, pag-aaralan mo pa eh.
Well, this is the opportunity to say it, Your Honor. Since I was first for an answer, I had to give it, and I have no reason to depart from what I had already stated. I think it's not only improper, it's illogical.
But nothing is cast in stone.
Ang bilis.
No, Your Honor, I'm talking from a legal standpoint. I'm not speaking as a political person.
Even in legal parlance or jurisprudence, nothing is cast in stone, because the Supreme Court would even depart or reverse its previous decisions.
That may be true, Your Honor. That's why I'm saying that the bone of contention here remains unsettled, and there will be future instances where this issue of jurisdiction and exercise of jurisdiction will actually be the subject matter. And that will happen probably when Article 19 on specific concrete cases actually arise.
Well, with all of the legal questions and answers, my co-chair and my colleagues, perhaps knowing that the president is also a politician, that if Congress and the Senate adopted this resolution, it means that it represents the whole country and the electorate of the whole country. Perhaps he might be able to change his mind. And because of that, also, Mr. Chair, our good Solicitor General will also change his mind later on.
Thank you, Co-Chair. Last, what's
Yes.
to be recognized, Representative Arlene Process.
Yes, Mr. Chair, thank you. Last manifestation lang, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, interestingly, no, ang history natin, during the ratification of the Rome Statute sa Senate, one of the senators who said yes to ratifying ICC inclusion is our current president. No? So, Mr. Chair, as one of the 48 states who voted in favor of the adoption of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the Philippines has recognized that everyone has the right to life, liberty, and security, and that everyone has the right to a fair and public trial. This recognition became part of the law of our land through its incorporation in our Constitution, Section 1 of Article 3, under the Bill of Rights. No person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor shall any person be denied the equal protection of the laws. However, during the war on drugs of ex-President Duterte, from the time he was mayor of Davao to when he became president of the Philippines, around tens of thousands of lives have been lost due to the extrajudicial killings or to just being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Not one of them were given the opportunity to exercise their rights under the supreme and fundamental law of our land. Until now, justice for these individuals have not been given. The authorities responsible for their demise have not been successfully prosecuted, while those responsible for these deaths roam free. The surviving loved ones feel the brunt of their loss every single day. It is the state's responsibility to ensure that it upholds our Constitution. While the deaths of thousands of people during ex-President Duterte's war on drugs can never be undone, The fight to seek justice for these slain people still remain. From 2011 to March 2019, the Philippines was still part of the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court, and any and all acts done during this period is under the ICC's jurisdiction. In a 2021 decision, no less than the highest tribunal of our country, the Supreme Court recognized the Philippines' commitment to meet its obligation under the Rome Statute. The withdrawal of the Philippines from the Rome Statute does not remove ICC's jurisdiction over the actions done by the Philippines prior to such withdrawal. Until now, there have been no genuine prosecution of state agents or officials who are responsible for the extrajudicial killings in ex-President Duterte's war on drugs. The Philippine justice system has not been working for these tokhang victims. It has not been working for them from the start of police operations. The ICC Office of the Prosecutor has already found sufficient reason to start an investigation to find justice for these victims who are not able to find immediate redress in their own justice system. It is only fitting that the Philippines, as a show of solidarity and respect for the right to life as enshrined in our Constitution, to cooperate with the ICC in order to bring justice to those who were unfairly killed before they even had an opportunity to defend themselves in the proper court of law. We in Gabriela Women's Party wish to reiterate our stance to urge the Philippines to cooperate with the ICC's investigation on possible crimes against humanity committed during the administration of former President Duterte, both as the mayor of Davao and the President of the Philippines. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Representative Arlene Brosas. Any other member who would like to have to ask questions on our resource persons? No more?
Well, if there's none, then
Representative Bangalan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, on the part of the Committee on Justice, I move to adopt House Resolution number 1477 without amendment in consolidation with House Resolution numbers 1393 and 1482. And I also move for the approval of the corresponding committee report. I so move, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Joint Chairs, on the part of the Committee on Justice, Committee on Human Rights, I move to adopt House Resolution number 1477 without amendment in consolidation with House Resolution numbers 1393 and 1482. And I also move for the approval of the corresponding committee report. I so move, Joint Chairs.
Second, Mr. Chair.
There's a motion to adopt House Resolution number 1477 in consolidation with House Resolution number 1393 and 1482. Duly seconded. Is there any objection? There being none, on the part of the Committee on Justice, House Resolution number 1477 is adopted without amendment in consolidation with House Resolutions number 1393 and 1482. And the corresponding committee report is